Good evening, folks. It is not our usual night. It is not Thursday. It is not 8 p.m. It is, though, your Big Gold Belt Wrestling podcast coming to you pre-Thanksgiving, because Thursday night we will not be doing the show live during Thanksgiving festivities. So you're getting us on a Tuesday instead. Folks, we have stuff to get into this week. We have the aftermath of AEW Full Gear to discuss. We got new champions. We got blood that was spilled and all kinds of happening at AEW Full Gear. And, of course, then we will look forward to this weekend with WWE War Games, Survivor Series going down. Lots to discuss there, too. So, folks, get ready. Your Big Old Belt Wrestling podcast starts right now.
Big Old Belt. Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt. All I really want is that Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt, Big Old Belt. All I really need is that Big Old Belt.
Hello, everyone, and thanks for being here with us on the Big Old Belt Wrestling podcast tonight. Season 5, episode 43. As it's almost Thanksgiving. You may be listening to this on Thanksgiving. You may be listening to this while you're in the car on the way to Grandma's house or all that stuff. And if you are, we are so glad you are here with us. We are recording tonight on a Tuesday instead of our usual Thursday, so we can get to the holiday festivities. I am Will on the left side of your screen. To my right is the Giant Crab, Jamal. Oh, how are you doing?
Good. Ready to get this thing out of the way and in the can. And ready to get the hell out of here because me and 2/3 of America will be traveling over the next 3 days.
Yes, indeed. The heaviest, craziest travel time of the year. I'm glad I'm sticking.
I thought everybody was broke. I mean, like, I don't know how the people got the money to go and travel and have a record-breaking Black Friday. What happened? Like, I don't know.
The paperwork got signed and the money is flowing again.
Maybe I'm just poor, but yeah.
Well, best of luck to everyone traveling this weekend because we know how crazy that can get. We might have Damian G from down the Lone Star State with us shortly. It sounded like he was coming, so we may have 3 of us here tonight. But we're going to get things started here since there's a lot we want to get into here tonight. So first and foremost, this past weekend, we had AEW Full Gear taking place in Newark, New Jersey at the Prudential Center on Saturday night. Quite an interesting, I would say, aftermath to this show. Because, man, I have seen some strong feelings about this main event. And in case you've been living under a rock, we have a new AEW World Champion. Guess what? If in case you haven't seen shows yet, because tomorrow night will be Dynamite, since we're recording this on a Tuesday as opposed to a Wednesday.
Okay.
We have a new AEW World Champion in Samoa Joe, defeating Hangman Adam Page inside a steel cage, and people have some strong feelings about this one. A lot of people thinking the Hangman got cut off too soon, especially after the long chase of beating Jon Moxley and the Death Riders and all that. On the other hand, I'm sitting over here, and my thought always is, if you strap up Samoa Joe, that is never the wrong choice, is my thought. So I will always be behind making Samoa Joe a champion, no matter what the company is. So I'm perfectly fine with it. But I've seen a lot of people this week who are very worked up over, was the Hangman done wrong? Was he not given enough of an opportunity? Why did they do this? Crab, I don't know. What was your reaction hearing that Samoa Joe is now your AEW World Champion?
Well, I think it's quite interesting, and maybe it's Providence. Maybe not, but we started hearing Samoa Joe's name in the retirement circle, a couple months ago. Maybe he's going to lean more into television and other projects that he has going on. Maybe the clock is ticking on his wrestling career. Maybe his bump card is nearly full. And then all of a sudden, Joe's come back. And then now it's, teaming up with Adam Page, and then seemingly like he's bipolar, he just turns on Adam Page and then, wins the championship. If it were somebody else than Samoa Joe, I think you might go, okay, wait a minute, this maybe not BS, but because it is, you can't be mad at Joe full heel as your champion. And honestly, AEW kind of needs more heels. They have a lot of people that people like, whether they're heel or not, because of whatever reason. More than likely their style of ring work. But you need just a good guy to hate. And Samoa Joe is a hateable sumbitch. And that's what he's really effective at. Him being world champion, not a problem. Did Adam Page get done dirty? Well, no. Because it was a bit of a surprise. And that's what I think people are mad about. People are actually mad that they fantasy booked the damn thing. It didn't come out the way that they wanted it to, and they're mad that they want their money back on their parlays and all the other stuff that they want to do with their money. Because no, I booked it this way. But because it was a surprise, people are pissed, and they don't like to be, the hubris of man is what it comes down to. Because Joe won. Should he have won isn't the question. He did win. Because that's what you're supposed to believe, that anybody has a shot to win at any given, a chance. And that's the thing about wrestling that makes it great. It could be a 20-minute match, or it can be a 5-minute match, or a match could be an hour long. But the only thing that matters are the last 3 seconds of the match. That's it. So, yeah.
Especially inside a steel cage.
Especially inside of a steel cage. So good on Joe. And of course, the finish was a bit interesting with Hook coming out and the whole thing. I'm not mad at it. I really am not. And I think that if you're like, what about Adam Page? Don't you think that him chasing the champion, especially being the way that Joe won, in a heel way, don't you think that that's a little bit more interesting than, Adam Page, the Boy Scout champion? I'm going to, nominate myself as tribute to do better and save all the squirrels in the woodland forest. No, Joe made everybody hate, him immediately. People feel really bad for Adam Page, which makes it even sweeter if you are, in that camp when Adam Page wins it again. And that's the story. That's the story that they're selling you. I'm not mad at it. It was a bit of a surprise, but I think that's a good kind of surprise.
There you go. Let me work in Hassan HT Gamer watching on YouTube. Hi there, guys. Happy Thanksgiving Eve tomorrow morning. Yes, indeed. Yep. Almost Thanksgiving Eve, which that makes me think of Survivor Series. The old days of Survivor Series on Thanksgiving Eve the night before. So we will definitely be talking some Survivor Series later on. Thanks for being with us here tonight, Hassan HT Gamer. Yeah, I think it's Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe can always be presented as a beast. I mean, my God, the visuals of him after he won the belt are just like him, just like covered in blood and just like, just looking like he conquered the world out there. And getting sympathy on Hangman, I don't think's ever a bad thing. He's a made guy. This isn't a case of like, oh, there's a new guy they gave an opportunity to, and now they cut his legs off. It's like, no, he is made to that AEW audience, and there are a lot of baby faces that are just better in the role of chasing as opposed to actually being champion. And also, hell, another layer to that. There's also a lot of damn guys, and I would say Hangman Page is probably one of them, that frankly, he doesn't need the title. I don't think the title really enhances him in any kind of way. I think he's still just as over as champion as he is without it. I don't think it really changes anything in how people perceive him. I mean, the guy's pretty damn beloved and bulletproof with that AEW audience.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think that's how you know it's good. That's how you know they're doing something right. When it transcends what people know about wrestling and they legit are pissed that whatever happens. That's how you know you're doing something right. Where it's a magic trick, you're in the joke, you get it, you know how it's done, and then you go, well, fuck. What do we do now? How dare you do this to me? Playing with my emotions. But no, I think it's good. It's a good way to end the show. And that's actually, like, I'll give them credit, for Full Gear as a whole. Yes, another long show, but still, can't say that you don't get your money's worth. I mean, $50 or not, $40 or whatever it costs. Yeah, it is an evening with AEW. So compared to Survivor Series, which only has 4 matches on it, yes, we'll talk about that later. But that's another thing. But
you will get your 5 hours plus more of action on an AEW show. That is for sure. Now, one other theme jumped out on me on this show, looking at the results here. We had the $1 Million Trios match we talked about last week, because we had money on the line in some of these matches, where we had Josh Alexander and the Young Bucks beat Kenny Omega and the Jurassic Express. And then afterwards, we had Kenny and the Bucks, the Elite, reunite. Elsewhere on the card, we had FTR defeat Brodito for the AEW World Tag Team titles. So we have FTR as champs again. We have the Elite getting back together. And it kind of felt to me like, well, yeah, we kind of been here before. We're kind of rehashing some stuff. We're making FTR the tag champs. We're doing the Elite for like, God, how many times now? I mean, over a decade, easily. Yeah. I mean, all wrestling is guilty. But
absolutely.
I don't know. I'm sitting here like, I don't. It's 2025, almost 2026. I don't think I need another run of the Elite. You know, I kind of like, especially with the shape Kenny Omega's in, where I'm like, I kind of like that he was doing his own thing when he could do it, and was just kind of, you know, kind of like, you know, I don't know, like kind of like a attraction role almost. It felt like he was in.
Do you think that we're hitting DX territory in like 2016, 2017?
Yeah. Where it's like going with like, well, we know this will sell some merch. We know this will get people, you know, people will be into it. Yeah, but it's like you're reheating the leftovers.
Yeah, but also more importantly, like Shawn Michaels is you know 50 and bald, and Triple H has been using his real name for a decade. God only knows where they can find X-Pac. So it's just kind of like, do we need to do this? But also, it's Saudi Arabia. You know, so then you do have the Elite for the 19th time, which, again, yes, sure. But I feel that they're setting up for the end. Like, I think that they, like, you mentioned Kenny's health. You know, the Young Bucks have also said, especially in that retirement bubble that's been bubbling for the past 6 months or so, where everybody's been kind of looking at their careers. You know, AJ Styles notwithstanding, you know, Balor's been talking about it, you know, and then you got the Bucks who've openly mentioned it. Kenny's definitely been a thing. Adam Cole may never wrestle again. You know, we're starting to see today that planned retirement, obviously seen as retirement year, that planned retirement versus back in the 80s and 90s where they just died. So
just disappeared suddenly.
Right. So there's that. But I really think that, and this is just a gut feeling, it's not based on anything, but I really think that getting the Elite back together is really more about the long term winding them down than this is, you know, reuniting number 19, 20, 21.
Like one final run kind of deal.
Yeah. Like, but yeah, it's the final run. That's not the final run. That's totally the final run. Kind of like the Eagles, you know, going on tour for like their 17th farewell tour over the last.
Right. This is really the last time.
Right.
The last time till the next time.
Right. So I can't be mad at that either, because, you know, they brought back being the Elite in some capacity, and, you know, we're starting.
They've slowly been hitting it. They've been hitting at it for a bit.
Exactly. So what is old is new again. And it's kind of like, okay, there is that. But there's also a lot of new stuff, too, on the roster, where it's not just a rehashing of things because they're running out of ideas. Like, things are flowing into place because it seems a lot more organic than just, oh, shit, we need a champion. Okay, Joe can do it. Or, you know, because if who's the heel that's going to chase after Adam Page? Because realistically, he goes into Cena, I love everybody, and I'm just going to challenge everybody. And you know what? Some good matches will happen out of it with really no story behind it. And then they're going to call him a lame duck champion. And then they're going to say, shit, it's been this way for 6 months. Get the belt off of him. Where's Swerve? Where is Will? Where is somebody else? Like Adam Page is taking up.
Right.
It doesn't have to be Page, but, you know, but the champion is taking. We saw it with Moxley. This was cool until it wasn't. Get it, fix this. Get us away from this. And honestly, as much as I hate to admit it, and I will only admit it to you because Damien's not here, Moxley's actually doing decent work with his group and that storyline that's been brewing. That's another thing with Kyle O'Reilly beating Moxley at the pay-per-view in a no-holds-bar match. Something that both of them fare well at. Definitely Moxley's type of match, and O'Reilly with the win. You know, obviously this is another, chink in the armor against the hell is that thing called?
Death Riders?
Yeah, the Death Riders. I can't think of the damn name. But yeah, I mean, this is another thing against them. How long will that last? That group was about results and taking over. And how can we take over if our leader doesn't win? And, so.
Yeah, Moxley is suddenly dropping matches here and there. Dropping the blood and guts. It's like that's becoming the new theme is like you hook Moxley in a submission and he ain't hanging on long.
It's not, but it's not just matches. It's like high profile, high stakes matches where it's supposed to be everything on the line and you're the guy and you take the final shot and you missed 3 games in a row, 3 losses in a row. Like how long will guys like Claudio, Garcia, all of them, Pac, put up with this and go, okay, listen, there has to be a change at the top. What does that change look like? You could argue that Moxley really doesn't need to be the leader of a group, and he never has. But if he's ousted, if he's deposed as leader, who takes it over? Definitely Marina Shafir. Who, but where does Moxley go by himself? Another championship run? A redemption story? There's a lot of stuff in play here that they can go with. And it's not just cookie cutter. We need a storyline at the top. This chapter's closed. Let's open up another one. Who's going to be our face and who's going to be our heel? The next pay-per-view is in 6 weeks. There's like some things that are long-term storytelling. Hot damn. In 2025, I never thought I'd see it.
I thought AEW didn't have stories. That's what
or talent, apparently. They don't have a lot. They're just a t-shirt company that dabbles in wrestling.
Let's see. What else jumps out at you on this card? Before we went on the air, we mentioned the national title getting crowned.
Right. So the national title is a thing. What I didn't realize is that it definitely is not a specific NWA copyrighted thing, which totally makes sense because otherwise, how could they just steal the title and put it on TV? But it's also looks similar to how the national title could look.
Yep.
But it's definitely not the NWA national title. Interesting. I wonder if they came out with another belt and it looks similar to the Winged Eagle Championship belt.
Right.
Could they do that? And they can call it whatever they want. They can, it's not this because it's that, same thing with the national title. But I wonder if that's something that they can do. But more to the point of the title, do they need another belt? They just unified the Continental belt, which they're going to have the yearly crowning of that thing at World's End.
That's starting this week. Right?
That's the next pay-per-view in a month. Yep. Right. So it's now they have this other thing, and I think we're kind of getting to that like late 90s WWF where there's the IC title and then the European Championship and then the US Championship. No, I'm sorry, that was the WCW, but the they had another
hardcore title.
The hardcore title, the light heavyweight title.
Yeah.
And they obviously have the guys that can hold it, and that has nothing to do with Ring of Honor that they can just bring over if they wanted to, because that's a totally separate organization that can't have a place in AEW if they want. So it's interesting that they're adding another title. They're adding another championship. And good on Ricochet for winning it, the Casino Gauntlet match. But I wonder what that does for the other belts. Does it take away from the importance of another belt? Ricochet has this one. Now that he has this one, he's probably not going to try for another one because he has this one. It would be interesting to see how that happens. Now, also, on the other hand, as I'm going to contradict myself, they have enough titles where they can run Mercedes' gimmick within the company.
Right.
I mean,
just all with
belt
AEW
collector,
titles,
yeah,
not even having to like hop around anywhere.
he would have like 7 belts, as the top title holder in AEW if they just ran them all. So it's interesting to see what comes of it, and obviously how it fits into the show, which is a pretty cramped show anyway. Where will they have the time for the storyline that involves the national title? Hi, Damien.
Good to see Damien here joining in. We were just talking about the national title and Ricochet winning that at Full Gear and that being added to the scene. And I don't know. Any thoughts on Ricochet as your first AEW national championship? Or I guess, or even as we're kind of discussing here, it's kind of where the hell the national title even fits into the AEW landscape.
That would be my first question. Where the heck does this fit in the landscape? Because we've often said there was too many championship belts in AEW to start with. And now it's like, hey, here's a new one. And I'll just say this. Good on Ricochet for getting a character over as corny as it is and it being successful. Because he wasn't going to get anywhere in WWE. So I'm glad for him, but I'm really curious as what the lineage of this title is really going to look like going forward. Is this going to be the worker belt? Is this going to be just a special attraction? Is there a special match type a la WWE Speed like this is going to be? I'm curious to see going forward, even though he's the inaugural champion, what the overall plan is for this belt.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's kind of like that. I think for a lot of people, that's say, okay, what are we doing with it? Because you already have the TNT title. Hell, the same show you had Mark Briscoe win the TNT title. So we had the TNT title, we've had the international title. The Lord knows
we're gonna have the women's tag team title.
Yeah. Tony Khan loves some championships. I mean, Lord knows he made new tag champs on this show.
Well, let's not forget the CMLL had a championship match on this show.
That's right, the Trios title. Yes, indeed. There was a lot going on this show. Between
maybe Tony Khan secretly just likes belts, right? Maybe the wrestling fan in him just wants to make new belts for him and people to buy.
He is a belt mark. Yeah, I can't blame him on that.
That's kind of how I played No Mercy as well. I would just make up all of these belts. I mean, now that you mention it, yeah, like I totally made all of these belts for no reason at all. And every match was a ladder match for whatever title I just made up, but also like the titles themselves aren't gimmicks versus like the speed title or or the beat the clock challenge title or the title for this match specifically title, greatest Royal Rumble champion or something like that. They are
hardcore title, that kind of stuff.
Well, even still, that makes more sense than like the speed title. Like it has to be this, it has to be that. Do you prefer it to be associated with a specific gimmick, or is it just another belt? That's another belt. Because like I like Pure Rules, in Ring of Honor. I like.
I forgot about the Pure title.
Jeez. Yeah, I mean, I like that. That's a thing. The hardcore title makes sense also. Because you know what you want to get with it. It's associated with this.
It's a separate division. Yeah.
Right. But now that you have, your 1A belt and then your 2A belt, B, C, D, and E belt, and then you have the last belt on the, and that's just for singles. They're not even tags and 6-mans.
Right.
Is it like the reason why we're having this conversation because it feels like this belt is just diluting the pool when realistically it could have been associated with a gimmick. The X Division Championship, for example, comes to mind.
Right.
Where it's like, oh, yeah, no, that totally makes sense. It stands on its own as a title. It should absolutely be there versus another really nice looking belt, but otherwise it's just a belt that Ricochet has.
I appreciate the homage to the original television championship back in the day. Yes. I was like, oh, Tony's going after my heartstrings with the old TV title look there, but making the gold plating instead of silver.
Well,
okay, we're talking champions.
That's actually a good idea. Why don't we just have our lower tier belts be something that's a bit of a gimmick? Just keep it that way, because then it'll make the title more interesting. And if there's match rules, that'll
makes it stand apart. Yeah,
that'll change it up.
Or I mean, honestly, and obviously, if you could do it all over again, I think that different division belts should be worth less. The gold-plated, ruby encrusted world championship should be the biggest, bestest, most beautiful belt in the company.
Mhm.
And then another belt could be made out of silver, and another belt could be made out of brass or copper, and another belt could be made out of
Right.
nickel or tin. Shine it up real nice, but it's just that like everybody having gold makes the gold
Where there's a
seem
visual hierarchy. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
well, damn, he
At
has
the Olympics. It's
exactly.
visual hierarchy.
Yeah, because it visually because of A, the podium, and B, the belts, but like, yeah, he has a bronze title because it's a lower class championship.
Yeah.
We
Okay,
got to give the belt something if we're just going to have 40 belts for no reason.
Well, that's if let's go to WWE with that same deal with the Evolve title, right? That's like the baseline, get your foot in the door, developmental title to work your way up. And from what I saw, I don't think it's all that revolutionary. The title itself, it's not like, oh my God, it's all inspiring. So
Right.
here's a let's get you over belt. Welcome to the show, right? So at what point are we crossing the line to corny? Or is that the whole point?
Well, it's wrestling.
Is to inevitably just be corny and carny all over again.
I mean, wrestling.
Yeah, that's my question.
Wrestling will always have that going for it. I mean, there's no escaping that stage. Yeah.
Like a modern era fan, how far is too far?
I think how we see this online, there's a lot of especially younger fans out there who seem to have the opinion and the idea that everyone should have a belt. And so I think those people are perfectly fine with it because they're fine with more champions, more wrestling, longer shows. And so another title, fine, bring it on. So I think that's kind of the modern wrestling scene where there's a lot of people who are just like, everyone should have a belt. Everyone gets an opportunity. Everyone gets a belt. Everyone gets a match, as opposed to, the flip side version of like when we were coming up where it's like, there's 3 belts in the WWF. WCW had a few more, but it was like, there's only a few belts. There's a ton of people that are going to be on these shows all the time that may never even sniff a belt at all the entire time they're there. And it's like, to some people, that's unfathomable today. The idea that like a Jake the Snake Roberts or a Mr. Perfect, it's like, well, Mr. Perfect was not him. So, but Jake Roberts is a perfect example of never had a belt in the WWF. Right. So, huge star, big name, no championship the whole time.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's and again, that's the difference between then and now is because get it over on for a wrestler, even though, well, I mean, I was about to say, I'm thinking of R-Truth, for example, but R-Truth is the greatest 24/7 champion of all time,
right?
Oh, God.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then that's kind of where we are. And again, not to directly compare the totally not NWA National Championship in AEW to the 24/7 Championship, which is definitely not the DDT Iron Heavy Metalweight Championship in WWE. Totally not that either. We are kind of getting to the point where like we're seeing diminishing returns as far as the vitality of your champion. Like, okay, Ricochet is a champion. Yeah, but he's only like a Division 3 champion. Who cares?
Yeah. No, we're definitely in an era where the person who carries the belt makes the belt. The belt don't make people no more. Belts don't make people.
Right.
Anymore. It's all about the guy holding it and how they're used and how they're utilized. And then that can get a belt over. But just winning a belt itself in 2025, it ain't got that same zing that it used to, where it's like, oh, now you're somebody. Now it's kind of like, everyone else has a belt, so big deal.
But
what
especially with the rise of the indies, and we can't overshadow, Monet, who has legit 14 belts, and it's not that the belts are directly recognized or represented in AEW, but it's not a secret. It's just like, hey, well, those don't work here. I mean, it's like having a bunch of transfers from other bus companies. This is the one you need for this one. I don't care if you have 40 other ones. Cool.
But it's becoming participation trophy belts at this point, right? You get a belt. So it's devaluing. I for me at least, And maybe just because we're not part of the ADHD generation where we think, oh, he needs one, she needs one, she needs, because then no one needs one at this
Okay.
point. Let's just go back to the original top 2 or 3.
No, 100%, because that would make storylines more interesting. That would give the belt more weight. But to play devil's advocate, you say that we're in the participation trophy era. Well, we're also in the participation wrestler era. How many wrestlers do you know that should never, ever reach that top tier status of the World Heavyweight Championship division? As much as I might like a person, Ricky Starks, compared to who the champions are in WWE, and we know that they have a history of a type, and what they look for in your World Heavyweight Champion, and because this is what's been the prototype for the last 75 years. As much as I love Rey Fenix, I can't imagine a multiverse where he is WWE champion.
Right.
Correct.
So to wrap up the Full Gear talk, let's hit this real quick. We didn't talk about Mercedes. We just touched on her, and she kind of flies into this.
Sure.
We talked a bunch last week about, okay, was this going to be, finally she'd get the AEW Women's World title, the one piece that's been missing of all her, string of titles she's got together, and it didn't happen. Chris Statlander beat her. Chris Statlander is still AEW World Women's Champion. So it's kind of like, okay, does this make the AEW Women's World Championship more prestigious or valuable than her 14 or 15 other titles that she's conglomerated together? Is it does this improve I guess the image of the AEW Women's World title in y'all's opinion?
Yes. Because honestly, last week when I said, oh, I hope this goes into a schmaz and then we inevitably get the Statlander win. Mm-hmm. This creates clear separation, going back to what we just said about belts, right? So now the top women's title in AEW will now hopefully we'll have other feuds while Monet is still over here collecting infinity belts, and it's fine to keep them separate until it's not. And I don't think, based on the reception she received, because I did catch glimpses of the match, winning the belt, or winning the match, I should say, the crowd was behind her. The crowd's always loved her, Chris Statlander. So it didn't necessitate switching a title onto Mercedes to continue the belt collector gimmick. You can do that. And to Crab's question earlier about, hey, we're just going to collect all the belts for her, and that'll be it. And to get those belts over, right? All these conglomeration of belts, like you said, well. So I think what this does is it really just separates the 1A to the 2A. And that's what we've needed. We've needed a clear separation between mid-card and top of the card title. So this is great. I love the clear separation, and it allows Mercedes to chase after other promotional belts, and it doesn't necessarily hurt the AEW product.
No, generally agree with all of that. Obviously, I think Statlander in general needs to win more than Mercedes for the obvious reasons. Because of, you say that the wrestlers make the belt. Well, there's no way to make Statlander if she loses, and right now, at least, she has to lose sometime.
It's just another victim. Yeah,
she's just another victim in the Infinity saga. So her getting the win obviously sets this up down the road of the big rematch, the feud. Mercedes has the little ones, but can she win the big one? She's never been AEW champion before, TBS champion, sure. But, never got the big one, lost to Toni Storm, lost to Statlander. So that's always going to be the one missing piece in the gauntlet that she doesn't have. And then for Statlander, it's just no. Yes, I started off with the goofy alien gimmick, moved past that, got right, and came back from injury, and goddamn, I'm the champion, as I should be. So both things happening concurrently in a storyline sense, absolutely here for it.
All right. Yeah. No, I think y'all nailed it. I think that's it. You can't have it. I think that's the big thing last week. So we were talking about Mercedes going for this. It's well, if she wins it, that's it. She's got all the gems. That's the whole deal. At that point, it's then what do you do from there? Then she has to start losing them. It's delaying that was the move. It was the right move. All right. We've gone long in our first half. So let's do this. Let's go to our halftime break. And when we come back, it will be time to look ahead to this weekend to Survivor Series War Games and what's going on there, because there's a lot to be happening between 2 War Games matches and some other stuff going on down at Survivor Series. So, folks, stay with us. Your Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. We'll be back right after this.
Looking to get your brand in front of people who eat, sleep, and breathe entertainment? Big Gold Belt Media is the place to be. We're all about reporting on movies, TV shows, conventions, and everything in between. And we want your brand to be a part of the action. Partnering with us means your sponsorships get featured right in the midst of our content. Plus, we're going to hype you up on all of our social media, connecting you with an audience that loves discovering new things from trusted voices in entertainment. We're easy to find. Just look for us on Big Gold Belt on all your social media platforms. Don't wait, reach out today, and let's start building something amazing together. Your spotlight is waiting here at Big Gold Belt Media, biggoldbelt.com.
Thanks for being with us here tonight, folks, on the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. Normally on Thursdays at 8 p.m. streaming live, but this week out of our normal time slot here on Tuesday so we can get you the show before the Thanksgiving holiday. So thanks for being here with us. Or if you're checking us out while you're on the road this weekend, traveling to and fro from Grandma's house and all that good stuff. Hope you're having a good holiday weekend. This Saturday, the Thanksgiving tradition happens for the World Wrestling. I'm going to say World Wrestling Federation because that's how I remember this show always being promoted back in the day when it was on Thanksgiving night. WWE presents Survivor Series War Games this Saturday, November 29th from San Diego, California. And for the first time, outdoors in a stadium for Survivor Series at Petco Park. They were showing on Raw. The rings are already up. The cage is there. They're building the whole thing. So I guess this will officially be the biggest Survivor Series ever because Survivor Series has always just been an arena show. So this would have to be the biggest Survivor Series ever. But it's going down this Saturday in San Diego. And as Crab mentioned earlier, at this point, we only have 4 matches on the card. Good. So we will hit this real quick here. Let's hit the easy ones before we get to the War Games, because War Games, there's always, there's a lot of layers involved there. So we have Stephanie Vaquer defending the World Women's Championship against Nikki Bella. We have a singles match for the WWE Intercontinental Championship as John Cena will defend against Dominic Mysterio in San Diego on Dominic's home turf, which should lead to the reception should be interesting. And so Cena's almost last match, but also Dominic can do no wrong, it seems, lately in a lot of people's minds. So I think the dynamic there will be really interesting for those two. Let's talk about this stuff before we get to War Games. Steph Vaquer and Nikki Bella. I'm not sure what to expect there. I don't know, Damian. How are you feeling about that one? Because Nikki, to me, lately has been, since this run, she feels very hit and miss. Yes. It's like sometimes I'm like, okay, now the old Nikki Bella's still in there. And there's other times where I'm like, oh, I'm not so sure.
Yeah, no, you're right. Because when she first came back, that's exactly what we got. A lot of yee and yikes moments. Especially, I remember her and Asuka had a really bad in-ring chemistry with a match they had. But I'm really more concerned about Stephanie Vaquer. Mm-hmm. I pray this doesn't turn into a Julia situation where we had high hopes. She gets she gets a title of some sort, even though Julia got the mid-card title. Only for it to just fall flat for whatever reason. Now, would Nikki Bella be my choice for her opponent? No. But at the same token, she wanted to come back and quote, quote, help younger talent, end quote. So this is her chance to at least help Stephanie build her star power. Because if anything, Nikki's a name, right?
Yes.
Inevitably, she's a Hall of Famer name. So why not have Stephanie go over on a current, if not future, Hall of Famer in WWE's eyes? But I am concerned that eventually, long term, that if this is the best we can do, then that stinks, because all the main event players in the women's division, which we'll get to, are in another match, which is getting a lot more publicity. So I'm not excited about it, but if it's a decent 8-minute match, I'll be okay with that.
All right. Crab is can Nikki Bella's name value, I think, is the question. Can her name value help Stephanie Vaquer?
That's the only reason why she's there.
They give the rub. They give that celebrity rub, that total Bella's rub.
Right. No, I mean 100%. Like, I mean, I guess this is a question for her biggest fans. Are you excited to see Nikki Bella back in the ring wrestling? Because if you are, email Triple H right now and let him know. Otherwise, you would say that, oh, Nikki Bella is a future Hall of Famer. She made her mark and did her thing, and now she's coming back, and she has a sister, but we can't talk about her anymore. But yeah, cool. And then putting her up with Vaquer, who's definitely their next big thing, that they are absolutely strapping the rocket to Stephanie Vaquer. It totally makes sense. If Trish Stratus were available for this run, they absolutely would have done that.
No doubt.
100%. They would have done that. But no, it's Nikki Bella who was better as a tag team. That's also part of it too. I never went into a Bella Twins match and went, you know what? I like Brie, but that Nikki's got something. Because it's been them, and it's even like with the Lucha Brothers, for example. And I'm just because they are like just another good tag team. I've never said to like I can't wait for Jimmy to turn on Jey Uso, or I can't wait for Phoenix to turn on Pentagon Jr. It's just like, no, they're there. That's them. So for her to go on the singles run for Nikki Bella, who was never like the best, it's really is her name. It is the Bella name, and that's why she's with Vaquer. I can't think of another reason why it wouldn't be that.
Yeah. Okay. It's the star value, and hell, it is a holiday weekend, so I get the idea of kind of like get the big names out there, get some familiar faces out there. You might have some different faces watching, on ESPN on Saturday night. Being it's a big weekend, people are traveling and stuff. It's hell. We were saying they are promoting this Survivor Series as a very big deal. I mean, hell, they're running a damn baseball stadium for it, so gonna be interested as far as that goes. All right. War Games. I don't know. Should we do the men or the women first?
Let's do the women.
Women's side? Okay.
Yeah.
The women's side is definitely the more interesting one to me. Okay. So here are the women's teams for War Games. We have on the ladies' babyface side, Rhea Ripley, Io Sky, Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, and AJ Lee added last night on Raw against Nia Jax, Lash Legend, the Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane, and Becky Lynch. As Damian mentioned earlier, whole lot of star power in that match. Whole lot of names in that match right there. So that's our women's War Games. Of the two, definitely the more interesting to me. And I'm not a fan of the modern War Games and how they work it, but I tend to like the women. I think the last couple of years, it seemed like since they've moved War Games to the main roster, I think the women's War Games have outshined the men pretty much every damn time. And I'm seeing a lot of the same faces that have been in those matches. I mean, God, I think every round one, Io Sky's ended up on top of the cage and done a move with that trash can.
With the trash can.
I'm sure it's coming again. So I'm sure Kyrie's going to do something crazy. But there's a lineup. I don't know, Damian. Women's War Games. What are we thinking?
I'm excited. It is star power. And I will say, like I said earlier about giving someone the rub, Lash Legend being in this match shows us that there is a commitment to her as a player. So I'm grateful. It's like last year or 2 years ago with Bronson Reed. Was it last year where he fell off the cage and broke his ankles? Where he was added to the men's War Game?
Bronson. Yeah.
Bronson Reed last year. Yeah. So it's one of those things where do they belong? So for Lash Legend, a lot of people are saying, why her? And I said, because clearly WWE sees something in her to put her with all these main event level women's superstars. Yeah. And for me, I'm glad, because now someone said this the other day, and I forget who, but Lash Legend is what WWE wanted Nia Jax to be. That's the line.
And they got her right with Nia Jax, almost showing her the way.
Exactly. And I love her addition. I think the experience for her will show her, hey, okay, this is what I'm up against. I'm out the shallow water. Let's work, right? But overall, as a match, we already know Io is going to do something weird with on top of the cage with the garbage can. That's her thing at this point, right? The garbage can spot. But who takes the L here? Aside from Lash, which probably would be the logical choice for some, who takes the loss here is actually what's got me thinking, because I don't see a lot of people willing to do the job on either team, unless, AJ just wants to do the deed. But aside from that, it's like, who's willing to take the L here? And I'm curious to see.
Kyrie's probably the most likely for that line.
Yeah. And then it'll continue. It might continue the thing with Asuka berating her, and then $1 million man Virgil situation. But then, if that's the case, yay. But from an in-ring portion, I am way more stoked to see it. And yes, I use the word stoked, kids, in 2025, to see the women in the War Games ring versus the men.
All right, Crab, women's War Games.
100% excited to see this. It is, dare I say, rad to see this kind of spectacle in San Diego. I don't know what the weather's going to be, but it's San Diego, so it'll probably be sunny and 75. And of course, in Petco, if you've ever been to that stadium, it is a sunny damn stadium. And it reminds me, potentially, I'm thinking of like WrestleMania when it was in San Francisco, and it was so humid because it can be in Santa Clara. And this show started so early because it was on the West Coast that they were baking in the ring. And it'll be interesting to see how the weather actually comes into play, with this whole thing. Who takes the pin? I don't see why it wouldn't be AJ Lee. She's the only one that really has an out. Kyrie could. Bliss and Flair, maybe. I doubt it. Rio, absolutely not. EO, probably not. Asuka, probably not. But AJ Lee has an out. So why wouldn't she? Hasn't really been there, showing up for this match, and then might not see her for quite some time after this. On the opposite side, Lash Legend, could make the most sense. Becky Lynch will be interesting to see if she takes the pin, but she's been going on this this egomaniac run that that could actually be a bit of her downfall. Talking about how great she is, and then it turns out that she is the reason why they lose. So
have the latest conspiracy befall her, so she can be wronged and go on these amazing Twitter tirades that she's been going on.
I mean, I'm just saying that it would make sense for her to do that after the fact. So
that's a good point. That's a good point.
Yeah, so Becky could be a thing, but yeah, AJ Lee takes the pin if I had to put money on it.
Okay. AJ just showing up on Monday to suddenly get added to the match at the last minute. Yeah, that I could see that. Yeah, I could see that.
Now, real quick, real quick, because I just saw this, and this is relevant to Survivor Series. They have the photo ops because we were talking about Nikki Bella and Stephanie Vicaire, and in Hall H. The San Diego Convention Center, which is the big hall for Comic-Con. That's where they have 500 people in there. They bring out, that's where they announce the Avengers and everything. And WWE is hosting a giant photo op session in that space. How much do you think John Cena charged for a photo op? And when I say John Cena, I mean
WWE. Oh, geez. This close to the end?
This close to the end, the weekend of his last major pay-per-view.
$1,000.
I was gonna say 500 starting. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. 445.
Under 500.
Under 500. Yeah, digital. It's not even a photo. You get a digital download of it.
Oh god.
So that's great because that won't be compressed to hell. But yeah, that's sold out. Done.
I'm sure those went like that.
Yeah, done. Because make mine out to eBay. if you could.
Mhm.
But Dominic Mysterio, Jey Uso, Stephanie Vicaire, and Rhea Ripley all sold out. Nikki Bella's not sold out. So good luck with that.
The new faces are the popular ones.
Yeah. So so they have a lot of good people there too, like Bliss, Asuka, Braun Breaker, Charlotte, Drew McIntyre, EO, Lash Legend will be there. Maxine Dupree will be there. Ray Phoenix, The Undertaker has his show, and you can have, if you want to save a little bit of money, for $248, he can sit down at the table and take the picture, or for $280, he'll be standing up to take the picture. So pass the savings along to you.
Oh boy.
So if you want the Undertaker standing there intimidating, looking like
Yeah.
classic Undertaker, you got to open that wall a little further.
A little bit more. You got to come up with $40 more. So thanks, TKO.
Oh my God. Let me work Mad Coco G in here watching on YouTube. I agree, and it feels like the Women's War Game has been the one to hold it down for the PLE and should be the main event. God, I could not agree more, and I wish it was. But never is, because the men got to have post-match shenanigans to carry them. Ain't that the damn truth? Matt Coco G there is nailing it. The women have killed these War Games matches each and every year, but there's always some sort of, someone's got to return, some sort of angle. So the men end up closing the show, but the Women's War Games is on another level. Mad Coco G, I am absolutely in agreement. Completely. All right. The Men's War Games. Here we go. Let's run this. I mean, I'll give it this. It's got star power. It's got names. So in the Men's War Games, we have on the heels and the bad guy side. The heels have already won the advantage. They settled that on Raw. So the team of the Vision, Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, Logan Paul, Drew McIntyre, and Brock Lesnar have your advantage for War Games, classic War Games style. They are going against CM Punk, Cody Rhodes. So you have both your main champions on both brands. CM Punk, Cody Rhodes, the Usos, and of course, Roman Reigns. So we kind of have the bloodline involved, but with the champions and stuff. So there's that was kind of the story of Raw last night. The family dynamic and Cody and CM Punk button heads, but then Roman Reigns being like, well, I got my family with me, whatever. I don't really care about y'all. So that's, I guess, supposed to be the hook for this match. I don't know. It's got names. I'm sure it'll be fine, but I don't know. It ain't doing it for me. I mean, you're not in your head.
I'm with you 1,000%. Well, I am. This is a whole ball of meh as far as I'm concerned. And I say that knowing that there's so many former and current world champions in this match, but I go back to my original question with the women's match. It's pretty obvious who's going to take the pin on each side if that's the case. Either Logan Paul or Jey Uso. And if it's Jey Uso, it's to further along that storyline of him, Roman, him being little Roman, and now with Jimmy and including Punk, etc. If it's Logan Paul, because it's the heels team, they don't lose anything by that because Logan Paul loses 90% of his matches, even though he looked great in them. So there's nothing really to look forward to on the men's side because I feel like this is more of a soap opera, which is fine because wrestling for people is a soap opera, but it's not must-see TV. I'm literally going to go get food when the men's War Game match is on because I don't really care.
Cut the show short.
You know what's funny? I would rather a War Games match had been on SmackDown and traded that for an elimination style old school Survivor Series match. That would have been better.
Forgot to mention that they are doing a traditional Survivor Series match on SmackDown with Sami Zayn team against the Solo Sikoa
MFTs
crew. And I absolutely would rather have that on the pay-per-view. Thank you for reminding me.
Well, I think the big thing about Survivor Series as a whole, whether it's this or whether it's War Games, is the fact that there's nothing to the event itself. They can have a War Games match any time of the year,
right?
But and I'm okay with it. You know, I don't even care that AEW just did it. But there's nothing to it. There's no lead up to it. Like, well, what does the team win? Does the 5 participants, get, go into like a 5-way dance for the number 1 contendership or something like that? Like,
That would be awesome to see. I would
no,
love
like,
that.
it's something. There has to be something to it other than, well, I got my guys and you got your guys, and we're just going to do this match in the cage because War Games. Like, I mean, okay, fine, because that's literally what it is. But it's Survivor Series. It's one of the big 5. It's a big pay-per-view. Yeah. And yes, the women's match is going to be a spectacle because of the storylines that are being interwoven with it, and a B, because there's a hell of a lot of workers in this thing, and it's going to be bananas. But it's still just lacking a little bit of depth to it that either the winning side's prize or something other than just oh no, it's 2-on-1 of the ring because somebody left this other person or somebody escaped the cage or whatever it is. It's just like, give me something different. Give me something. I need a little bit more. That's what it is.
Yeah. We had that initial novelty of them adding War Games to the main roster a couple years ago, and we've hit the wall already where it's like it's wore off. And it's like we're doing War Games for the sake of it's November, time to do War Games. Just like back in the day with gotta do Hell in a Cell. It's time
which is weird because NXT did it for a while,
yeah,
and it didn't feel this way.
Mm-mm.
There was definitely a lot more excitement for the NXT version of War Games because it's one of those things where they brought it back, and a lot of us, our age bracket, was so excited that to actually have it back in the first place. And then it became more about Regal yelling War Games than the actual match itself, even though the Undisputed Era was probably the MVPs of the new War Games every single year. But to Crab's point, I would love that 5-way dance for the winning team, because you know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that one year we had the wild card elimination tag, right? Where we had the heels with the faces against the heels with the faces. Sort of like brand warfare, but there's something else at stake. That would have been, for me, with Roman talking about he wants the title, I would have loved to have seen the one who gets the pin gets a title shot and see how many people betray everybody else in the cage. And I think that would have made this a lot more interesting, aside from the family Jerry Springer drama that we had on Raw. So, and oh yeah, by the way, Brock Lesnar's here too. Good on you. But it's missing the oomph for sure. But and to this point, I'll say Survivor Series was always my Big 4 event. That was the first event I ever saw where we talk about the 10-man tag all the time with the tag teams and stuff like that. 87, 88.
Yep.
So I was always a fan of teams of 5 strive to survive or something like that with the tagline. So it made it interesting because a lot of these people never crossed each other's path. You had Hogan, Warrior teaming up, let's say, and they never teamed up ever at all against like the insert heel team here, and everybody lost their minds. Now it's just War Games. And it just feels weird. Like if it was elimination in the cage, I feel as if I'd be a lot more excited if there's an elimination match in the cage, Survivor Series wise. But I don't think there's really anything that's going to make me excited for the men's War Game match.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it'll be fine, but
just meh.
Going into it, it's just the sizzle ain't there. Maybe they'll surprise us and we'll come back here next week and be like, oh my God, look what they did. They had something up their sleeve. Who knew? But
but that would have to happen either after the match or before the match. That's
how we were saying earlier.
Because as it stands right now, it's just the match itself is just the match itself. It's just it's just War Games. And it's not even Survivor Series. Actually, it's just War Games.
Yeah,
and that's
it's War Games that happens to happen at Survivor Series.
That's what it is.
All right, folks, let's go into our home stretch here so we can talk some entertainment here as we head into our holiday weekend. So, folks, every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, your Big Gold Belt podcast is streaming live here on X, on YouTube, on Twitch. Got it live every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern in our normal time slot. After the fact, the stream lives on YouTube in both video and audio form. So if you joined us late or you want to listen while you're traveling this weekend, coming back from grandma's or to grandma's house, all that stuff, when you're doing your Thanksgiving thing, we got you covered. The archives are there on the YouTube channel. On social media, you can find us at Big Gold Belt across the board, whether we're talking Blue Sky, Instagram, X, you name it, Threads, all that good stuff. At Big Gold Belt is where you can find us. And last but not least, on the web, BigGoldBelt.com, the home of Big Gold Belt Media, wrestling, movies, comics, and more. And as we head into the holidays, stuff is starting to come out. I know, I'll throw it out there right now, because tomorrow night about this time, we will have the new episode of Stranger Things hitting, which will be a big part of this weekend. I know my daughter is chomping at the bit, so I'm sure tomorrow night, Wednesday, 8 p.m., that's where I will be reserved to be watching, because she is ready to go for the return of Stranger Things to start up their final run of episodes to close out this year. Damian, I'll go to you first. And anything in particular jumping out this weekend on the entertainment side?
So if you all want something to put in the background while you're in the kitchen or trying to either make the turkey, steal some food, or just cause chicanery, MGM Plus, Robin Hood. I watched it for the channel over the last few days, and I found myself like the Mafia. Every time I wanted to stop watching it, I had to keep watching it because it kept bringing me back. So it's picturesque. It's beautiful scenery. There's a whole bunch of, it felt like watching a CW sitcom, as I told Bossman earlier today, but in medieval times. So it's one of those things where if you like betrayal, sneakiness, conniving during your family holidays, like some families, they get together just to talk mess to each other, this is the show for you. So MGM Plus, Robin Hood. This ain't your daddy's Robin Hood, if you catch my drift.
All right, crowd, get in here.
So if you're going to see War Games and you want to do it at a movie theater, it is planned at a limited number of theaters around the country. In this area where we are in DC, you have Hoffman down in Alexandria and Silver Spring, the Regal. But I'm seeing stuff all over the country: Tampa, Phoenix, Oklahoma City, LA, New York. Nothing in Dallas. Houston. San Antonio.
I know Dallas, they're showing on Cosm, at Cosm. So that might be
yeah, that's huge. Deal. Yeah. Go there, because that's ridiculous. But but War Games is going to be live, and they're doing a Survivor Series bundle, which includes the poster and the poster card. So War Games in a theater could be fun. Also coming out this week, of course, Wicked came out last weekend. Zootopia 2 will be the big thing in IMAX this weekend. And for the kids, the Elizabeth Olsen movie, Eternity, is also out. It's starting tomorrow. So that's for this week for Thanksgiving, and then next week you got for the anime guys, the Jutsu Kaisen is coming out. So there's definitely some stuff. Not the biggest weekend, because of course Wicked and Zootopia is going to just ruin everything for everybody.
The Giants are out this weekend for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Eternity looks good. I plan on seeing that as well. But go see. There's definitely some stuff to see this weekend.
There you go. Lots of entertainment options for your long weekend, folks. So thanks for being with us here tonight for this special Tuesday night edition of the Big Gold Belt Wrestling Podcast. We will be back next Thursday in our regular time slot, 8 p.m. Eastern. So hopefully you will join us then. Hit that subscribe button, hit the notification button, all that good stuff. And you can stay in the loop about what we're doing here at Big Gold Belt Media. Until then, safe travels this weekend. Hope to see you next week. Enjoy some turkey, enjoy some wrestling, and we will talk to you later.
All I really need